Do you dream? I know we all dream at night when we're sleeping, but today I want to talk about dreaming when we're awake. I want to talk about the dreams we choose for ourselves. I believe that if you dream big and execute flawlessly, anything is possible. I know this because I've dreamed big, executed almost flawlessly, to accomplish big goals in both my personal and professional life. Now, when you think about dreaming big, you also have to think about challenges. And as long as I can remember, I've loved a good challenge. It gets me excited, and I love when I complete something big. Today, I want to talk about dreaming in both my personal and professional life, and about how the trials involved in both are really not all that different. Both made me sweat, both made me sacrifice, both tested my ability to dream big, but reinforced that anything is possible. I hadn't really thought about dreaming in my professional life until I accomplished something real big in my personal life, completing an Ironman triathlon. About 27 years ago, I moved to Atlanta, and I started running to get to know the area. My identical twin sister, who's here today, said that was how we were going to meet people. That's another story. That worked out for me. So running led to my first 5K, and while I don't really remember that first race, I remember that feeling I had of competing and accomplishment as I crossed that finish line. That race led to more races, and I was hooked. Those races led to longer races, and sometimes even winning. Sometime later, I was at a press conference with Aflac Corporation. They were to be the presenting sponsor of the Iron Girl Triathlon Series. Now, these races are about a half-mile swim, an 18-mile bike, followed by a 5K or 3.2-mile run. Children's was the recipient of the proceeds from this race, so I was there representing our organization. Right before we went on stage, the race director looks at me and she's like, "You know what? You should sign up. Let's announce it today. That'd be really cool." And without hesitation, I said, "Sure, I'm in." Now, I had never done a triathlon. In fact, I didn't even own a bike. But I love a challenge. So race day came, and I was a mess. People were swimming all over me. I had my helmet on sideways, half the race, half the bike. But at 40 years old, I completed that race, and I was fired up. Well, that race led to other races, and as you heard, longer races. And for nearly 10 years, I did almost 40 triathlons. And then one day it struck me, I should do the ultimate challenge. I should do an Ironman triathlon. Now you might think, wow, that's big. She might be nervous, scared. I was excited. This was the biggest challenge I had tackled yet in my life. An Ironman, by the time I'm 50, that was my dream. There are accomplishments in our professional life that require big dreaming as well. In 2002, it was 4 years after the merger of Eggleston and Scottish Rite Children's Hospitals. The new entity, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, was still working through the kinks of a very complex merger. We were trying to figure out what was our legacy to provide specialized care for kids for generations to come. But we had a big challenge facing us. The population was growing in our community, and there was a looming nursing shortage. We were terrified at the fact that we might not be able to take care of all these kids. Now, we can't just hire anyone. Our reputation is built on being the best, having the best. We've got to have the best talent to take care of your kids. And so we dreamed our biggest dream yet. We were going to become an employer of choice, the place people chose over any other options. As soon as the CEO put forth this goal, I said, I'm in. Now, to become the place where people see it as more than a job, more than a career, a place where you can have a higher calling and can participate in saving kids' lives is big. We had to transform our culture to put people first. It had to be the priority. And like becoming an Ironman, this was an ambitious dream. Flawless execution is critical, and flawless execution requires a plan. And so we developed a plan that included articulating our goal to make it real, to building our team, to delivering and celebrating along the way, and 4, pushing past the pain. If we were going to become this place that employees would choose over any other option, we had to know what that looked like. So we asked our employees. Through focus groups and creative sessions, our employees told us what it would look like. They said, we need mutual respect, we need unique benefits, we need continuous learning, and we need work-life success. And so we set out on a journey to meet our employee needs. We called that our employee promise. It was our commitment to our employees, and we asked them for a commitment back. So our journey began to look at those needs, develop programs, and make people first. Just an example, we had heard it was challenging to return from maternity leave. Yet 80% of our employees are women, and 65% are working mothers. And so we set out to develop the best working mother programs we could build. And we demonstrated to our employees we had listened and we had responded. And so it went through our journey, listening to our employee needs and responding and showing our commitment to people. We also had to build our team. We needed people that really believed in the notion of putting people first. And so we had to hire the A team. We also had to make sure we were doing what we said we were going to do. So we decided that we would apply for Fortune's 100 Best Companies to Work For. We were just going to benchmark, see how we did. We didn't expect to make it. And in 2006, we made the list of 100 best companies to work for. And we've been on that list now for 12 years in a row. In large part, it's due to the wonderful employees that work at Children's. It's also in large part due to flawless execution and us committing our commitment to people. Now, when we began our journey, I was new to the organization, and there was a little bit of, who's that woman? What's all this people strategy stuff? So right from the start, I had to prove why focusing on people was going to deliver business results. Sometime later, we were experiencing some financial pressures due to hospital reimbursement, and then later due to the recession. But I led the charge to be resolute in our commitment to people. I convinced the executive team, if we need to cut expenses, that's fine, but we have to have a guiding principle that says we will not do anything that impacts our employees, and we will not do layoffs. No layoffs, period. We made it through those tough times, and we did not impact our employees. And I believe that commitment, even during tough times, demonstrated we were serious. Becoming an Ironman is not all that different. Those same 4 steps apply. You've got to articulate your dream, build your A team, deliver and celebrate wins, and 4, push past the pain. The first thing I had to do was envision myself crossing the finish line with my arms in the air after a 2.4-mile swim in the Tennessee River, followed by a 116-mile bike ride through the North Georgia mountains, followed by a 26.2-mile run through hilly downtown Chattanooga. I too had to build my A-team. I hired a coach, which is really important, helps hold you accountable. But my colleagues at Children's were amazing. They supported me throughout my training and even during my race. My best friends became anyone who would swim, bike, or run with me, and especially those who would do the 100-mile bike rides every weekend. It's great when you start a challenge. There's great excitement. You're really excited. And it's very fulfilling when you accomplish. But the middle is where it's hard. The middle is where flawless execution is critical. When I first sat down with my coach, he said, look, you are a busy executive. I'm going to need you to give me at least 15 hours of training a week. I gave him 20. He said, I'm going to give you some advice. Do not miss a workout. If you miss one workout, you'll miss another workout, and it'll become a bad habit. Flawless execution requires good habits. There was sacrifice. I lost sleep. I had to get going every morning between 4 and 5 a.m. I missed parties. I missed dinners. My diet was strict. No margaritas. As the race got closer, I began to dream about margaritas. But when you're focusing on your big dream, you also have to know what not to sacrifice. And I was not willing to sacrifice time with my only son, Grant. I made every minute with him count. I scheduled my workouts around him. I didn't want my personal goal to have any kind of negative impact on him. Each morning, as I completed a workout, and they got harder each morning, I celebrated that small victory that I had achieved. The toughest part of the entire training of 9 months was a Ironman training camp in Chattanooga. Now, this is a 3-day camp to make sure that you're ready. I thought I was ready. This is about 5 weeks before the race. First day started with a 2.4-mile swim, followed by a half marathon. No biggie. Got that. The next day, though, was hard and it was hot. We went out and rode the bike course over 100 miles, followed by a fast run in the 90-plus degree heat. Little did I know this exercise was intended to break us. I felt physically and emotionally exhausted. I felt defeated before the real race was even here. And on that run, I cried in front of everyone. And you can ask anyone who knows me, I don't cry. That night, alone in my hotel room, I began to doubt myself. Can I really do this? Am I ready? It was the lowest point of my training. But the next morning, I got up, put my big girl panties on, I got back out there. And I rode that course again. And I finished the day with a smile on my face and knowing I could do this. I believe that we all control our decisions to keep going. People give up when it's hard, not when it's easy. And at that camp, I had to decide, quit or keep going. And I chose to keep going because I had that dream in my mind. I had that vision of crossing the finish line. On race day, the conditions could not have been worse. I started the race with 2,000 of my closest friends. The bike and the run were in 97-degree record heat. People were falling out all over the place. But I had that training camp right here. I knew I could push past the pain. I knew I could cross that finish line. I also had our dream at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. I kept those kids right here in my heart the whole way. These kids are challenging every day. I can keep going for all these hours. My friends and colleagues were there at the race, and many of my colleagues at Children's had sent notes and cards that were displayed on my hotel room right before I left for the race for inspiration. And I picked one card out of all of those to open at a tough time in the race. And at one of the most difficult legs of the race, the last half marathon, I opened a card and it said, "You inspire." I carried that card with me in the palm of my hands for the rest of the race, and it kept me going. And I crossed that finish line after 14 hours, 12 minutes, and 31 seconds. In all, I ran 441 miles. I biked 3,207 miles. I swam 100 miles. That's 3,748 miles. This is that card that I opened on that last leg of the race. It says, "You inspire," or "inspire you." I keep that card with me every day. It does remind me of the Ironman, but importantly, it reminds me to never give up on our dream at Children's of being an employer of choice. Today, we have industry-leading retention. We receive nearly 100,000 applications each year for people who want to work at our organization. Our next Ironman, we're about to build a $1.3 billion hospital just for kids. It's the largest of its kind ever in Georgia, and it's a really big challenge. But we've assembled the A-team who knows how to dream big, execute flawlessly, so that anything is possible. Remember I said anything is possible. These letters hang in my office. They're made up of all of my race numbers from all of my races. It reminds me that big things start as big dreams. If you believe you can execute flawlessly, you will. Eventually, you'll see anything is possible. I hope you'll choose your dream and make it a reality. I did. You can too. Thank you.